Arsenal Football Club complete the signing and medical of Ben White from Brighton Football Club. The fee in the region of £50 million to bring the young England centre-back to the Emirates Stadium next season. It's a deal that took a little bit longer than expected, but of course, England going so deep into Euro 2020 played a massive part in that. Ben White being allowed a couple of weeks holiday and break to spend time with his friends and family and recoup ahead of what is going to be a very, very busy season indeed. Arsenal pulled off their third completed signing of this summer, with many more still at work. Also on the show, we're going to take a look at the Jules Kounde deal. He is closing in. It is maybe even just hours away from being announced. All the rumblings across social media, all the individuals I speak to have said it's pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered. And Ruben Neves has again reiterated today, after conversations with his agent, that he wants to join Manchester United. He's pushing for his team to make Man United come forward a little bit quicker. All that and much, much more on the Done Deal show. We want to hear from you. The link is in the live comment section for you to call in, but make sure you smash that like and that share button and get voting right now on our poll. Hit that share button, as I say, like, subscribe. You know what comes next, people? It's here we go. How are we doing, people? I hope you're very, very well indeed. Jules Kounde closing in on his move to Chelsea. Manchester United having signed Varane. You've got Ibrahim Konate, almost like the forgotten man this summer when it comes to the transfer window, because he came in so early, already at Liverpool. Ben White now completed and done, as we knew it would be, at Arsenal Football Club. Gunnars, I'm very, very interested to hear from you today, because there's still an element of sort of frustration that appears to be out there from some Arsenal fans. And I just want to gauge your views and your opinions on this signing. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, it seemed a little bit more positive because there was talks of Maddison's and Basuma's and Neves's. And these deals seem to have slowed down somewhat. Maybe there's a bit of a shine having been taken off. We, of course, had the panel on last night discussing it, but we want your views. It is going to be a £50 million deal, so it's a very hefty investment here being made. And, of course, again, Salt's going to be through. Arsenal fans have got to remain strong through this because Salt is coming your way. It's been reported this afternoon that Chelsea Football Club could be picking Jules Kounde out for somewhere in the region of around £30 million cash, which is colossal business. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. So of course people are going to come for you, but I'm going to stay true to myself, true to my views on the game. I think Ben White is a tremendous signing for Arsenal at £50 million. Paperwork has all been signed now, as we know. I think he's going to be a very, very good player for Arsenal. There's no doubt about it in my mind. If we look at the polls that we've put out today, look, he might be, fairly down the pecking order in terms of being voted for as one of the best signings. On the current live Twitter poll, he's there with 11% of the vote. Varane winning it with 51%. Jules Kounde to Chelsea, 31%. On Twitter, bottom of the pile with just 5% of 6.6%, sorry, of that vote. But I don't think it makes it a bad signing. I don't think it, how likely was it that Jules Kounde, Ibrahim Konate, or Varane, a player of that ilk, was going to join Arsenal in the position they find themselves in? Don't know. The one advantage Ben White has, I would say, over Kounde and Konate and Varane is that he's at least Premier League proven. The others are all quite young. I think Varane's experienced, Champions League Varane, as we all call him now, or he's been called for a while due to his exploits with Real Madrid, has got that experience on his hands, so there's less pressure or concern about him adapting to the English Premier League straight away. But I do think it's a very good signing for Arsenal. I don't think we should be having a pissing competition right now. My centre back is better. Maybe Jules Kounde is better. Maybe Konate is going to be better. Maybe all three of these signings are better. But one thing a gal said recently, which is very true, you have to weigh up and look at what deal is right or best for their particular football club. And that's what I put on today. Who has made the best centre-back signing so far this summer? And I do want to speak about the best quality of player, but I also want to speak about what it means for their club. What does it mean for Arsenal? What does it mean for Chelsea? What does it mean for Manchester United, for Liverpool to bring these players in as well? Because you may be of the belief that actually this deal. So I'm just updating something as I'm speaking. I'm trying to multitask here. Look at that. Look at them skills. No, I've left out a letter. There we go. That's done now. You may believe that Arsenal signing of Ben White is a better deal than Jules Kounde to Chelsea because of what he's going to bring to Arsenal. A lot of people asking me for Haaland and Tielemans updates. Haaland news, I'm still waiting for confirmation on. I don't like even tweeting about deals until I might read something from somebody else, but I often go off to the likes of Pete and Dean and a number of other journalists that I speak to across the continent now and look for kind of updates. We are trying to, I've reached out to him today, so hopefully get an answer back soon. We are trying to get Christophe Terrace back onto the football. Terrace had a long conversation today with Mr. Tavolieri, Sasha, in relation to that. So Yuri Tielemans update coming around 9 o'clock tonight. We've got a big Liverpool show on the Transfer Predictor. We've got some great guests on there tonight, to be fair. Really excited about that. So make sure you're tuning into the Terrace at 9 o'clock tonight. Jules would not have joined with no Champions League on offer, Terry. Arsenal was going to have to find players who aren't asking for European football right now. And I think that that's a key point, which is why I think Arsenal fans need to remain calm and almost not overreacting to the situation when it comes to the banter, because you're going to get banter. You just got to take it on the chin. You've got to laugh it off because you're not signing a bad football player. And by the way, I've just received a text message. I'm actually a little bit gutted. I might even be streaming because the Jules, it looks like there's going to be a Jules Kounde update very, very, very soon indeed. Time stamp this now at 4:03. Big Jules Kounde update expected very soon indeed in relation to that deal. Let me just bear with me a second while I just got to turn a few things off in this room because this room is really, really hot at this moment in time. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, and please make sure you smash that like button. You hit that share button as well. Very, very important to the Football Terrace that you get that done. I know we're getting a little bit of a problem here with the signal. That's just the internet signal has dropped a little bit. It'll work itself out in a few moments. Don't you worry yourselves about that at all. Would like to hear from you now, though, if you want to call in and have your say. The link, as mentioned, has been... Have I pinned the link? I didn't pin the link. I'm going to share the link again now and pin it to the... I'm going to pin the link to the live comment section so you can phone in and you can have your say with us right now. As I said already, don't worry about commenting about the quality of the picture. The internet's just dropped a little bit here. That happens at around 4 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon because everybody's on their way home. But don't worry yourselves about it. It will sort itself out very, very soon indeed. Remember to keep getting your super chats in as well, because we will be, as ever, we will be... hang on a sec. This is a weird one. Okay, cool. We'll be putting all the names of everyone who puts in over $5 into the hat to win a prize draw at the end of the month. 35 million euros plus Zuma for Jules Kounde. Marina has done it again. Yeah, it's a tremendous piece of business. If that indeed, that's one of the things that I was told earlier on today. And it's just wonderful business. You cannot get away from how good that business is. 31% voted. Is that what the poll is? There's so many polls out right now. On this one now, 30% are saying Jules Kounde is the best deal. There we go. Terry blamed the rain. It's not actually raining where I am, so I can't be blaming the rain. I can't pull off a tie and say that there. Kieran CFC says it's good news on Kounde for Chelsea. Absolutely. I know Arsenal fans are actually a little bit busy right now as well. I think they're off watching a pre-season like it means something. Honestly, I find watching pre-seasons boring. It's like watching Soccer Aid. You learn nothing. A lot of people try and twist it into you learn this, you learn that. I've never learned a thing watching. Honestly, I used to watch it. I used to have MUTV and I used to follow Man United's pre-season. Like, I think I only followed it then because it was the only way you really got information. Because there was nothing online for journalism other than the newspapers, and they were slow. It was like you'd get things a few days later. And I used to watch it because you'd always get like Fergie would be questioned or ask things, and you'd be waiting for him to answer, and nothing ever really came of it. Nothing ever really came of it. But Gunnars, we want to hear from you. Ben White is an Arsenal player. Also, Man United fans. We're talking Ruben Neves today as well. He wants the Manchester United move. Is this the specialist CDM that's needed? United are holding back ever so slightly, and that's because they have to wait. They've got the money. You know, what I've read today and what I've been told today is that the money is kind of there to get one of these deals done, but there's just an element of holding back slightly from Manchester United because they're looking to weigh up the Paul Pogba situation. Maybe if Paul Pogba leaves, they up their game. Maybe Ruben Neves is the CDM that comes in if Pogba stays at the football club. Maybe Man United up their game and go for somebody better in that role should they bring in an extra 45 to 50 million pound for the sale of Paul Pogba. If you're willing to put 35 to 40 million on Neves and you're able to raise 45, 50 from the sale of Pogba, maybe then you start to look towards the Ndidis of this world. And if the rumors are true that the 4-3-3 formation is going to be played, you need someone that can play in that single pivot in one way, one shape, or one form. There's a comment here that I read earlier saying, Terry, I read earlier that Manchester United is set to switch to the 4-3-3 with a greater emphasis on attack, underpinned by the newfound security provided by Raphael Varane. What was also interesting to read earlier on today as well about the Varane situation is that when it came to Man United sitting down with Raphael Varane, Fletcher and Myrtle sold the idea and the plan. Reportedly, he was blown away by what they're trying to do and what they want him to be massively part of. And it's also transpired via James Ducker that at the same time, Real Madrid actually offered him a lot more money than the Madrid press were telling us. It was somewhere in the region of around 20 million euros. So actually, if that's to be believed by James Ducker, he's taken less money to come and play for Man United because he's excited about what they're trying to build and what they're trying to create here. Something also read that I thought was worth pulling on here. It says Raphael Varane has been eyeing a move to Man United as far back as last summer when his brother, and his confidant were looking seriously at his options and had joined the CAA-based agency around that time. It says Real Madrid made a considerable play to keep Raphael Varane there, and there had been talk around him becoming the captain as well. A new deal was offered to him in November, and other offers followed before the final before a final offer was rebuffed in March. So there was around two offers were made, official offers were made, and there was an additional one in the summer that we know about. He says Real Madrid's final proposal to Raphael Varane was worth more than the contract he has agreed with Man United, which is understood to be worth around 20 million per season, included image rights and bonuses. So that's a very interesting thing there. So you see how they're thrown in image rights and bonuses. So a lot of people are going to take that 20 million pound a year and say, Terry, you said it was around about 12. You very rarely, when it comes to transfers being discussed, see the image rights be spoken about. And I'll tell you about image rights. People don't have to know about this. So image rights are not paid like salary. Image rights are not paid to players like you and I get paid a job where you get your PAYE, your taxes done. That's how footballers are paid like normal employees. Their image rights are not. The image rights, generally, these players will set up business accounts. They'll set up a limited company. The international players, depends where the image rights are coming from, but they'll tend to do that in the UK. Sometimes they'll do that offshore. There are kind of offshore accounts that are available for resident non-domiciled football players. A res non-dom is essentially someone that's a resident in the UK, but is it's highly unlikely they'd retire in the UK and they're going to return to the country of domicile, say France, or a country they have citizenship in later on in life. So he's a res non-dom. There are ways to utilize offshore accounting for this, and also fiduciaries and other things that can be done. Depends on where the image rights are coming from. If it's UK image rights, they can't do that. If some of the image rights, like for a club like Man United, who are global, some of those image rights payments may be coming in from companies abroad. So there's lots of weird and wonderful ways to work that. The image rights can be as much as 500 grand a month, depending on the size of the player. The bigger the player, the more commercial pool, the more the image rights can be. So someone like a Raphael Varane is going to have huge image rights. A gargantuan player in their game, huge commerciality, 4 times Champions League winner, World Cup winner. The French supporters, like a gal from all around the world, buy into players like this. So if you add that in plus the bonuses, and the bonuses will be substantial, but the idea of him earning 20 million a year, you've got to be mindful that 3 or 4 million pounds of that is bonuses will include if the league is won. Image rights are different, but you can look at all players that are on, say, 8 million. They might have image rights of 4 or 5 million a year. So if we're going to add it on for him, you've got to add it on for everybody. But some really good centre-back signings now joining the Premier League. I want to start going to some calls now from all of you. The voting poll now, 1,300 people nearly have voted on this. 52% currently have said Varane has been the best centre-back signing this summer. Bottom of the pile was Kounde to Liverpool with just 7% of that vote as it stands. Monster Ahmed with a super chat here says, would Kounde be the first name on the team sheet? Kounde wouldn't be the first name for Liverpool, but Varane and White will be. I think Kounde walks into this Chelsea team. I think he's sensational. Kounde. I think Kounde at Liverpool, mate, I do think he's first name on the team sheet. I think he's going to be the main partner for if Van Dijk's body is able to continue playing football in the right way, he'll be the guy. He'll be the guy. There's no doubt about it in my mind. He'll be the guy. He really will be. A recent update here. This is from Damasio here. An update just come out about Jules Kounde. It says negotiations between Chelsea and Sevilla are processing very well. Great optimism between the two groups negotiating. Could come to an end in the next few hours, as if I just said that. See, I like this. Sometimes we just get things right. I did actually tweet that about 37 minutes ago saying Kounde to Chelsea could complete today. And my version of complete is when it's a here we go, when it's all been agreed. I actually don't care anymore. Once they announce that there's been an agreement, I literally switch off from transfers after that. I don't even follow them anymore. Right, let's get some more of your calls here. First one I'm going to put out, go to is going to be VVCFC. He's a Chelsea fan phoning in first. No Arsenal fans called as of yet. We're going to go to a Chelsea fan here. Give me your thoughts and feelings, mate.
Hi, Terry. How are you?
Very well. What do you want to say, buddy?
So I just wanted to talk about all of these centre-back signings. First of all, my club, Jules Kounde. I think it's a great signing. And honestly, I don't think Zuma is worth much. Probably 15 to 20 million. So signing Kounde for 50 million net is pretty good. I think it's a great signing, and he will play in this Chelsea team for sure. Like he will start games, and I also it means for Chelsea that we're gonna play 3 at the back. I think that it basically confirms that. And for Ben White, I think it's a bit overpriced, but it's still a really good signing. Like, I don't understand the salt that everyone throws at Arsenal. Maybe 45 or 40 would have been better, but 50 is English tax, I guess.
Well, I think, do you know what it comes down to? We say English tax, but at the same time, people say, so maybe English tax is real, though. Maybe it needs to be applied, because what's the one caveat we always say when you're signing somebody, especially a young player who hasn't played in forget English tax as in because he's English. There is a little bit extra money because you're buying a homegrown talent. That's cool. But Paul Pogba counts as a homegrown talent in England because he was through a Man United academy, right? So there's one thing you pay a premium for, and that's people that you know can play in the Prem. The one question mark over Kounde, Konate, and Raphael Varane is, can they produce the same levels in the Premier League? With Ben White, if Ben White was the same player with the same skill set, but he was being bought in from Italy, if he was coming in from Spain, I think you pick him up for about 30 to 35 million as well, because there is that element of, can he do it in the Prem? And we don't know. With Ben White, we know he's done it in the Championship and he's done it in the Prem to a good level. So there's an element where you can say he's a slightly more a guarantee maybe than some of the other youngsters coming in, the wonderfully talented youngsters coming in from the continent. I think that's always a conundrum we always have. It's, even that element of taking a year to settle, which we know is very, very important as well. My bro, thanks very much for coming on, mate, and having you.
I just want to say,
man, make sure that like button is being smashed, people. 1.3 thousand people watching, which is out of this world, but it would be amazing if you could get that done. If you could get that done for us right about now, please. We're going to go to Mike next on the calls to have you say, Mike, remind everyone who you support and what you're here to say.
Spot United, mate.
Lovely. What are you here to say, my friend?
I just want to speak about Ruben Neves. I'm really excited by this potential signing because I think he could be the final jigsaw, or the final piece of the jigsaw, I should say, with our team, because we'd have a solid spine, a solid defense, a world-class attack. And I think he'd be our Michael Carrick, basically. So what sort of price do you think Wolves would be looking? Do you think we could do it without selling players? Or
It depends who you speak to, if I'm being honest. When I spoke to Peter O'Rourke about this, he thinks unless Pogba leaves, no midfielders coming him. That's the information he's had. Dean Jones looks at it from the other direction. He thinks the money's there, especially now after getting Varane for a good 6, 7, maybe even as far as £8 million cheaper than we initially thought we would. There's extra money in the coffers there. So maybe a 30 to 40 million pound player is still affordable. I think what's slowing it down is United don't know yet what's happening with Paul Pogba and whether or not they have to then sign 2 midfielders. So they have to just want to be careful they don't overspend on someone and then need a replacement for Pogba and they're not available. Equally, they may decide to not replace Pogba like for like and say, let's forget Ruben Neves and let's take the Pogba money and the Neves money and go for someone maybe like an Ndidi that's slightly, or a Declan Rice that is higher up the pecking order on Man United's transfer list. And I think my view is this: as a Man United fan, we're praising the kind of business we've done so far. So I'm going to trust this new regime. If they think Declan Rice at 50, 60 million is better for the way we're trying to build this team than 35 million on Ruben Neves, I'd back it. But unlike you, my friend, I think Ruben Neves is a colossal football player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. I think he'd make us a complete... in fact, I'm going to put my neck on the line and say if we buy Ruben Neves or someone similar, we're going to win the league next year.
Wow. Man United to win the league if we land Ruben Neves.
Or someone of his quality, yeah, like a Declan Rice or somebody. I think so.
I mean, the thing of it is, if we get a good quality holding midfielder in, or CDM, whatever the expression the kids like to use these days, register, destroyer, I don't give a damn, just a good holding midfield player that can pass, there's no excuse for us not to be challenging at the very least. Are you not afraid? What's your take on a lot of people's view of like Ollie tax, Ollie not being good enough?
I think he's learning on the job, so I don't think he's quite good enough yet, but I can see improvement every single season. So I think if he irons out a few little things, like if he learns to substitute more, substitute correctly, stop burning players out, learn things with the tactics, I think he'll be a really good manager if he, grows and doesn't stagnate, I think so.
There we go. Mike, great call. Thanks for coming on the terrace this afternoon and having us. Really appreciate it, Mike. Top man indeed. If you want to phone in, please have your say now, ladies and gentlemen. Some of these comments make me laugh. Terry's line always is top man, then cuts them off when they are about to ask another question. I'm sure I'm used to it, but it gets me every time. It's not about being harsh. It's sometimes we want to move on to other calls. Sometimes I think we're done. I press the exit button for them, and then they start to speak, and I'm like, no. I feel guilty about it sometimes, but there we go. There we go. Next caller, we're going to go to ACFC. Welcome back to the Terrace. Who do you support, and what do you want to say?
Yeah, I support Chelsea. So I just wanted to talk about all of these centre-back signings, because it seems like everybody's signing a centre-back now. If I was to say right now which one's the best signing, I'd probably say Varane, just because I think if you look at all of those signings, that's the one where I think that club actually needs that type of player. Whereas I think everyone else, I don't really see Chelsea needing a centre-back because the defence was already very strong. And I thought Arsenal, their weakness mainly was their creativity and their midfield. Maybe Liverpool because of their injury problems, but that's just my opinion. I'm really interested to see how he does. I think he'll play. I think Kounde will play at the right centre back. I was speaking to my cousin, actually. He's like a massive Real Madrid fan. He's fuming because Varane's just gone, and they wanted Kounde as the replacement. I think it's because like they view Kounde as like one of the best centre backs in La Liga, and they thought that would be a like ample replacement for somebody for Varane, who was so good for their club. But yeah, see how he does in the Prem.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting about the Kounde situation and Real Madrid is when I spoke to, I nearly said my sources, it sounds so horrible to say it like that, but when I spoke to our sources about the Varane deal, they sort of said part of the delay is Real Madrid considering the replacements. It was a very basic conversation. I kind of assumed that they're looking at who they're going to sign. It then transpired that actually it was more the other kind of direction where they're deliberating whether or not to replace and buy another centre back. So it feels like Real Madrid have decided to maybe go down a different route. And then we saw the reports come out of Spain very late last night that basically suggested that they might have to still offload more players because of their financial predicament. So yeah, from my sort of point of view, I'm not surprised. And Chelsea's a team that, you know, we've been covering this story of Chelsea looking at Jules Kounde since around March. And we tweeted about it in March and we did videos on about it in April. The likes of Simon Phillips and Danny over there, Danny on their podcast were doing the same. So I'm not surprised. I think Chelsea started like Man United to look at Raphael Varane when he suddenly became available, and nobody thought he was going to be available, but he was just blown away by what Manchester United were doing. But it isn't like Chelsea have not gone on now and signed an excellent player as well. That's why I keep saying to people, there's always a player we really want and we're desperate for, but there's always alternatives. There's always different players or different type of players that you can go for. And I'm sure that most Chelsea fans would have loved to have got Varane if it happens, but it isn't like you've gone from Varane and you're buying Phil Jones. Do you get what I mean? You're bringing in a quality player. By all accounts, the deal is done now. It's going to go through and everything else. So yeah, I sort of feel like when it comes, I sort of feel like when it comes to this situation, Chelsea have done some impeccable business.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I just hope we now focus on the striker, because for me that's the main priority. I was looking at the stats the other day. It was really interesting. So if we just look at Thomas Tuchel's reign at Chelsea, it was second most points collected, least goals conceded, most chances created, but we were very, very low for goals converted and actual goals scored. So we need to really improve that conversion rate, and a striker will just be so useful for that.
There we go. Listen, thank you very, very much for coming on, fella. Really appreciate it. And we'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah.
Cheers, fella. Thank you very much indeed. Let's get to some of your comments that are coming through here. Jan just tweeted again about Haaland. Did he? Let me go check out what man like Jan had to say here. Man like Jan. And of course, Fabulicious, always keeping us entertained on their Twitter accounts. He said now, Jan Fjortov actually quote tweeted. Jan Fjortov, what a legend. He actually quote tweeted my poll from earlier. I didn't even know. Let me just message him, actually. Thanks for sharing, mate. And I've got a reply here. And yes, DVD returning is going to be epic. Didn't realize he'd shared my poll. I'm very happy he did that. I know we follow each other. He says here, Haaland very professional, talking to the press yesterday. Then Samia, the advisor to the Dortmund boss, said, I think he will stay, but you never know if a madman would pay 200 million. Like I said the whole time, Dortmund will sell if and when they get a crazy offer. And that, listen, I trust Jan Fjørtoft. I legitimately trust Jan Fjørtoft when it comes to this news. And I'm going to do him the favor now and quote tweet man like Jan back and say, what am I going to say here to Jan? I'm going to say this here. Correct. That's all I'm going to write is correct. I'm going to do my green tick emoji and my advanced talk stage. I've got to put Haaland and CFC. I've got to do it. I've got to quote my guy, man like Jan in the house. Next on the show, I'm going to my brother here. Ads is in the house. What you saying, Ads?
Come on, G. I'm blessed, brother. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very, very well. I'm very, very well indeed. Big thing, we'll talk about centre-backs that have come in now. Ben White confirmed, £50 million signing. How good a player do you think he's going to be?
Look, at the moment, he's young and, he's gone to the England squad. We saw a few games from him in the summer. He's a decent player. I think he has potential, but I don't know why fans from other ends think it's okay to say that, he's going to excel, become a better player than this guy and this guy and this guy. Just stop putting the pressure on these youngsters so early on. It's just a joke. But no, I rate him. I think he's a good player. And that is coming from someone who has watched him before all the hype was built around him. I think he'll come good. But you need to fit that consistent partner next to him at Arsenal Football Club. I don't rate Gabriel. I really don't. I think he's better than Gabriel, to be honest. I'd say you fit I think you have to fit David Luiz next to him because I don't rate Gabriel. I think you still get some maturity from David Luiz, even though he's a reckless and stupid player. And he's on his last leg. So for me, I guess they're going to go with Gabriel, but I wouldn't chance it because we've seen that, obviously David Luiz isn't the same player he was a few years ago, except when it comes to his stupidness, that's still there. Gabriel is still young as well. Holding, I don't rate, but Arsenal fans are going to build him up like his prime Ramos. And, any centre-back you go with is going to make Ben White look so bad. I don't think there's much room for him to look great at his early stages at Arsenal Football Club.
Look, do you know what? I do understand where you're coming from. And I'm with you on the sense that Ben White, for me, is a quality signing. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. I feel like I want to say this in the right way. It's going to be interesting to see next year with more of the dead wood being removed, because we saw kind of, and I don't mean any disrespect to Ozil as an example, but we saw in the January when a bit of dead wood got removed and more of the young players got opportunities at Arsenal, there was an improvement in the team. And with more leaving this summer, I think the Xhakas and the Williams, although they've only been here 5 minutes, like as in Williams' case, I still think they're part of that old, not lazy, not in the right, but just bloated old squad isn't needed anymore. I'm going to be intrigued to see the jump up. But look, something that's I think it was Peter O'Rourke said on one of our Done Deal shows a few months back that really stood out to me was he said that it's a double-edged sword and a positive one for Ben White. It's go to Arsenal, be the quality player that he is, and get Arsenal back into the Champions League as a minimum, or go to Arsenal, be the brilliant player you are, and then in 2 or 3 years' time, you get that move to a bigger club anyway, and it actually works for Arsenal because Ben White's either going to be part of the group that gets them back into European football, or they're going to make a profit on him. Because if he goes in and does as well as a lot of, you got to remember that Jurgen Klopp wanted him. and Bielsa wanted him. Like, this is not a bad football player that a lot of people seem to be kind of digging into, if that makes sense. So, yeah, look, from my point of view, I do share the same concerns as to whether or not it could be the wrong choice in the long term for him. But I think he'll be the best centre back at Arsenal next season without shit. I think he'll stand out as the best. So I think it's a really good signing for Arsenal. It'd just be interesting to see how he fits in. And in terms of your views on the poll that we've got today, Konate, Jules Kounde, Ben White, or Varane, who signed the best centre back this summer? As in the best, what's the best deal?
Of course, I'm going to go with Varane. Of course, I'm going to go with Varane. Of course, I'm going with Raphael. For me, yeah, no, look, of course, that's a good question. But, you know, I feel like it has to be Raphael, man. Raphael is just a different level to all of them guys at the moment. No disrespect, but he's just better than them all. And, you know, the fact he's come to Manchester United just shows that, you know, we, in a way, woke up before Arsenal did, because everyone was saying, oh, you know, Arsenal, Man United, same boat. They need well-structured players in their team for them to, you know, go back to doing this, go back to doing that. You know, we're lined up for something better than last season, in my opinion. It's not going to be winning the Champions League or winning the league. It's just, I feel like we'll win something with these players in our team. I think what we need now is just that DM and, you know, a better manager. And I think we'll succeed. And Arsenal are going to need another few players and a better manager before they can actually see themselves winning a big European trophy.
There we go. Listen, Ads, thanks very much, mate, for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro. Top man. Thank you. Nice always chatting to Ads. I always like an opinion. You don't have to agree with everything everyone says for it to be a good call. Lengon Sweet here says Raphael Varane overrated and he's not even better than John Stones. Well, it's a good thing we only signed him for 34 million. Do you know what the great thing here is as well? If he does turn out to not be as good as everyone's making him out to be, he only cost 34 million. He's cost 34 million. You know, you could have bought two and a bit Maguire. So in terms of costing, he's really cheap. Legitimately. I think if you look at inflation in the game since like 2010, Phil Jones cost what, 20 million? The money in football in the last 10 years has gone up by about 350%, right? About 350. It could be a bit more. It could be a bit less. Let's work that out, right? So let's just say this. We'll do the lower value, 18 million pound, plus we'll do 300% just to round it off. Phil Jones, right? Based on the inflation in football since 2010, and we calculate the inflation on the rise of TV revenue that's come in, coupled with the commercial deals that the players got. They're on average, it's grown to that sort of level. It's about 3 times higher. So I say 3 times more. Like is what we're saying here, right? It's huge now. The international TV rights as well. Phil Jones would have cost you 72 million pound with inflation. Like that's how good a deal this is. So it's one of the things I saw the other day, and it's not even fair on City and Chelsea. People always focus on the how much players cost now. Oh my God, you just spent 50 million on a player. You know, the best striker in Premier League history only cost 10 million pounds. Yeah, that was in 1999 or whatever. Like, I think since the late 90s, early 2000s, inflation in football somewhere in the region of around 450 to 500%. So just to take that into consideration, I did the maths on this before. I've got to go read the report again on it. But I think that like this Wayne Rooney, for instance, in 2004 cost 27 million pounds, which is a lot of money. But if you time that by the inflation by then, which I think between now and then is about 4.2 by about 4.2. That's an 18-year-old costing you 114 million pound. And Rooney would have been even more expensive than that. Rooney's inflation would be above the average level of inflation because Rooney had superior commerciality. Imagine Rooney as an 18-year-old with social media. It would have just been colossal. So you've got to add at least 20, 30% markup on that. Let's add 25% markup on that. You are looking at a 140 million pound 18-year-old. That's what 141 million. That's what it would have cost. So I do think what's important, what I'd love to see would be an inflation comparison. So you each year, it take a good mathematician or accountant to do this, but essentially apply the inflation year on year and then put the respective costs of players, because it is really disrespectful to say, oh my God, I can't believe you're spending £60 million on a... And I think maybe that's why we get warped with certain midfielders. We think, how can Declan Rice be 60 million? But then we think back to how much Ballack cost or how much Michael Carrick cost, and we think, and they were only 18, 20. How much more money is in football now compared to then? It's relative. Do you know what I mean? It's a relative thing. I'd love the maths to be done on it just to see what it kind of look like. Global CFC here says Kounde over Varane. Rooney would be worth 200 million at least at 18 years of age. You're talking market value 140. Purchase price, that could be through the absolute roof. That could go through the absolute roof. There's no doubt about that. It really, really could. Could go through the roof. Could go through the roof. Let's go for a few more comments. Terry, what's the Konate update? I've already gone through it. As far as we're aware, this deal is structure's done. Player is agreed on personal terms. There's a few legalities that are now being reviewed between the two clubs, which always takes a little bit of time. So it may take a day or so to get an official announcement, but everything is practically where it needs to be. I'll update properly on that a little bit later on once I'm not streaming, but because I got the message, I wanted to share the information. I didn't want to get pipped. It's so bad. I was like, no, I want to put it out now. Because then some hater will say I copied someone. Did I say Konate instead of Kounde? Sorry. It's because they're both being in with K and my dyslexic brain struggles. I'm sorry. Anyway, Ziad's on the show now. What you saying, mate?
Afternoon, Terry. Yeah, I don't really know how to feel this Kounde deal, really, because, of course, he's a good player. He's a young player. He's quite experienced for his age. He's played in the Europa League. He's won the Europa League. He's played a few times in the Champions League. But when I see it and then I think of Matt Gurhey, Fikayo Tomori, we know Chelsea at the start didn't think the centre-back was the first option, like a main priority, because it said that we were in contact with Varane in March. But then after the Champions League win, we decided we didn't need a centre-back urgently, or it was a priority. But then now we're signing Kounde as our first signing. So, and then that's what makes me a bit confused about that. And also in terms of letting it go with Tomori, who was already played in the Premier League. And Matt Gurhey, who's had a very good loan spell at Swansea. They're all around roughly the same age. Why not give them a chance, Tomori or Matt Gurhey a chance in the first team and see how they can do, instead of going and getting Kounde? But then at the same time, it's a great deal. He's 20 to 25 million pounds plus Zuma. It's a great deal because Kounde does fit the system. I'm not too sure if Gurhey and Tomori would fit the system as well as Kounde will do in terms of passing from the back and playing in a back five. Kounde fits that. So that's where the positive.
I think the reason that you've gone for, look, don't get drawn into this priorities thing. It's nonsense within fandom. Your priority can be a striker, but your first 2 or 3 signing, your priority last year, your main creme de la creme signing was Kai Havertz, but he was the second. I think he was second to last. I think Mendy came in after him, but he was your second to last signing because it was the biggest. It was the hardest to get done. This notion that you focus on your priority first, it doesn't work like that in reality. I also think that the reason that you've gone for Jules Kounde is because he can also play right back. So you obviously were looking. There's two things. There's loads of things at play here. You've got Aspie coming to. I mean, he literally can play the positions that Aspie does: centre back, right back. You need that cover in there to help protect Reece James as well. It's future proofing your squad. And he actually, I'm not saying he's not better going forward than Hakimi, but defensively and then moving into centre back roles, you may have picked up a better and cheaper deal than Hakimi. I think that's what this is. And Hakimi, by the way, was the first player you'd bid for this summer. Yeah. So I would say forget what fandom says the priorities are. I would trust Thomas Tuchel. The first player you bid for was Hakimi. Jules Kounde is an alternative to him. And look, maybe it is the second choice, but at the end of the day, it's a choice that was still high up on the priority list. There's no doubt about it at all. And I think it's a tremendous signing for you. It may take him a little bit of time to get settled, but Kounde is going to be an excellent player, no doubt about it at all, for Chelsea Football Club. Ziad, thanks very much, mate, for coming on and having your say. I really appreciate that as ever, my brother. Thank you very much indeed. Next up, Jem is here with us now. I think Arsenal fans are still busy watching their eventful, what do you call it, pre-season game. But Jem's here. What are you saying, mate?
Yeah, not bad, man. What's happening? You good?
Yeah, I'm all good. You?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Another busy day, just keep myself up to date with everything that's going on. And look, the Kounde thing makes sense. I don't know why Chelsea fans are worrying so much about the appointment. I think I sort of come in at the end when you was talking to the guy before, and what you said was so important. It's just back what Tuchel wants. He's given us no reason not to back what he wants. At the end of the day, I think this player that we've bought, the reason we bought him is the versatility element of him. Like you said, right back. If Christensen and Thiago Silva get wiped out or they're injured or whatever, he can play as a centre back. If Rudiger can't play because he got sent off and we missed him for 2 games, he will slot in as a left centre back. He can also play as a DM. This guy's movement with the ball is great. His progression with the ball, so being able to pick the ball up and drive forward and pick out players is pretty impressive. Yes, he's a defender, but he fits the Tuchel mould and what Tuchel wants. And like you said, I agree. If Tuchel wants that, then we've just got to back it instead of questioning it. I've had people over Twitter today, especially Chelsea fans, saying to me, like, why are you hyping up Kounde so much? I'm like, I'm not hyping him up too much. I'm just backing my players rather than being negative and going, well, if he flops for Chelsea, I'm just going to blame the board because they shouldn't have signed him in the first place. But they don't think that the Zuma that we currently had doesn't fit the Tuchel bill. He doesn't fit the Tuchel bill, and he struggles to play in the back three. So for me, it makes sense all around, mate.
No, I hear you on that completely. I just want to say as well, sorry, some breaking news just shared by the Football Terrace own Pete O'Rourke. Arsenal Football Club are ready to offer Hector Bellerin to Inter Milan in a part exchange in a potential deal for Lautaro Martinez. Lautaro Martinez. Pete O'Rourke has just confirmed that now on Twitter. Of course, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., join us for the Done Deal show on the Football Terrace, where we're going to go into that with more detail.
Wow.
Do you know what's really funny about that news? There's people that are like retweeting it and commenting for me, who this morning said, Terry, I don't like your sources, they're not nice about Arsenal. And now they're retweeting it because it's the positive news. Listen, bruv, everyone's a tier 1 when they give you the news that you want. Do you know what I'm saying?
I would be shocked if they pulled that off, though. I'm not going to lie, Terry. If they managed to pull that off, they've got themselves a player that scored double digits in his last 2 seasons at Inter Milan. He's actually a goal scorer. People would argue and say it's because of the system he plays for Inter Milan and that he might not be able to do that with Arsenal. He might not get the supply, but there's no doubt that this guy's got talent. He's a top. He's a top player. Whether or not he'll do well at Arsenal will be yet to be seen. But if Arsenal manage to pull that off, I'd be surprised, man. I said it yesterday on your stream. I would be so surprised.
I mean, I would be surprised as well. But there we go. I've also had another message through, and I can't confirm or deny who this is from. Maybe we've just mentioned him. I don't know. Legal and financial matters just being reviewed, but this is a formality. It takes some time as always, but Kounde is a blue. Kounde will be a Chelsea player unless something dramatically goes wrong from this point. It looks like the base is agreed. It looks like the overarching agreement around the deal has been done. Personal terms on no issues. Just legal matters and financial matters being reviewed. This will be the boring bit. This is where the likes of Marina and co step away and let the accountants and the lawyers go through things. But that one looks like it's going to be done, dusted and over that line. Martinez may be on his way to Arsenal as well. The Done Deal show is going to be fire tomorrow morning. It's going to be fire.
Do you not feel like things are moving 100 miles an hour now? Like left, right and centre. It's been so quiet the last week or two, barring the Varane deal with you guys. But everything's been so quiet, and all of a sudden it's like, bang, people just firing shots left, right and centre each club. So yeah, man, it's looking exciting, and hopefully a bit of Haaland news eventually. I'm hoping, but who knows? We'll see.
There we go. A few people as well keep commenting, going, Terry, how come do you keep saying on Twitter that deals are all done? Green tick means on. Green tick means on. Someone says to me the other day, now green ticks don't mean that, they mean done. I'm like, yeah, if you type in done, that comes up. But Christian Falk uses the green tick for true. It's just my way. It's what bruv, I use the emojis for what I want, brother. Do you know? At the end of the day, I see some of you, man, using fruit to pretend it's your penis. You know what I mean? If your penis actually looks like an aubergine, you need to go doctors, bruv.
Or using a pineapple as my head. Think of it like that. That's not very fair, is it? Like, come on, guys, man.
There we go. Listen, a lot of people are already commenting saying, yeah, but Fabrizio said Martinez wasn't going. Listen, there's one thing Fabrizio will tell you. Fabrizio's a lovely man. Everyone you ever speak to about Fabrizio says this. The world changes. The world can change overnight. And he's admitted that himself, where he'll say something like, I don't think X is going to happen. And then look what happened with the Gattuso thing when it comes to Spurs, and people getting on disgracefully getting on his back. It's like, leave him alone. There we go, mate. Listen, Jem, as ever, mate, thanks for coming onto the terrace and having your say. Speak to you soon. Top man, thank you. Pineapples everywhere in the comments, by the way. Everywhere in the comments. Cheers, bro. Thank you. Next up, we're going to go to Donny James to come on and have his say. Someone here says, okay, yeah. Mohammed, listen, we just spoke about that one there. We'll see what's said tomorrow morning on the show. Donny James in the house. What you saying, buddy?
Terry, first time we've spoken since the Newcastle game, and obviously we just announced the former United youngster Aidan Barlow as well. We just announced him on a new one-year deal, so we'll take care of him for you United fans. But yeah, first time we've spoken since the Newcastle match. Good performance. I think Newcastle got the win in the end, but, you know, I think we beat them in every department apart from the result. And, yeah, big day today, by the way. Big stream going on from Texas tonight, so busy with all that this morning. Yeah, good. Are you going to say something there?
No, hang on. Yeah, I was. What's happening in Texas?
It's this big new coaster announcement tonight, so I've got to react to it tonight as part of some work.
You're reacting to roller coaster news.
Yeah, that's what I do on the other channel. I'm sending one of my I'm sending one of my videos to a news outlet in Southport as well, so getting them to do some stuff with me as well, which is nice. So I got all that to do today. But yeah, Arsenal, Ben White. Premier League proven, could be an underrated transfer, but, and you've got to put all the English tax onto it, £50 million, I don't know. I think Man United with Varane are getting the better deal here, even though there is the English tax on top of the Ben White deal. So I think, and especially with Ben White's age as well, him being younger than Varane, I think that's sort of played a factor in it as well. We'll see what happens with Ben White. Like I said, Premier League proven. It's always good for Arsenal to bring in someone that's Premier League proven, someone who knows the league, someone who deserves the step up. So we'll see what happens with all of that. On the other updates as well, Neves, I think he'd be perfect for United's midfield. I think with Matic looking to be moved on, with Phil Jones probably moving on as well, I think that could free up some space perfectly. I think Kounde for Chelsea is a brilliant defender. For Chelsea, for me, it's just, if you're not bringing in a striker and you're going to stick with Timo Werner, I feel like Chelsea's got nowhere to hide this season, because if you have Werner, you've not really got the backup option to fall back on to give you some goals, because Giroud's moved on and it looks like Tammy Abraham's moving on. So Werner's got to get firing, otherwise there's nowhere to hide for Chelsea in terms of their attack. But on the other hand, I'd like to see some of the younger options brought through as backups, like your Ugbos and Broja. I think Armando Broja looks like a very good youngster. So, I'd like to see some of those youngsters get brought through if they're not going to bring in a backup striker for money. So Chelsea really have got nowhere to hide. But in terms of Kounde, that's a wonderful addition to their defence. Really good addition. And we'll see what happens, mate. We'll see what happens. But for us, we're bringing in Aidan Barlow, 1-year deal, like I said. He's been out of football for a year. I can't wait to see him play in the league, make or break season, see what he does, and then offer him a longer deal at the end of the season if he impresses on his 1 year deal. I've got some other trialists playing today as well against Sheffield United at 7 o'clock, so we'll see what happens with that, and hopefully we'll get this goalkeeper situation sorted as well. But big up yourself, big up the Terrace. I've got a lot of work to do at the moment, so I'm going to get back to it and then get ready for this live stream at 7:45 at night.
Top man, good luck. Good luck with that roller coaster news. I hope
can
you
I plug it? Before I go, can I plug it quickly? I don't usually plug stuff, but
yeah, listen, viewers, if you're interested in roller coaster news, listen to Donny James now.
So my channel for theme park news is called Coaster Chow. It's got nearly 2,500 subs and nearly 1 million views, which is unbelievable. I've only been on YouTube with that 2.5 years, so it's unbelievable to get that kind of success at the moment. It'd be really nice to try and get to 4,000. I was told by someone if I got to 4,000 subscribers, they'll make me into one of those little action figures. It's a pop in the box company to make me into a little action figure. So I'd like to get to 4,000 subscribers to try and get that goal. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, 4,000 subs and 1 million views is the goal here.
There you go. Go check it. Coaster.
Coaster Chow. Yeah, CHALL.
Chow. What does that mean?
It's the first off my second name, Challoner. So Coaster Chow.
Ah, there we go. I thought that might be like a little bit of inside lingo from roller coaster. You know what I mean? Like, are you basically like a train spotter, but you do it on roller coasters?
Yeah, so it's mainly the latest theme park news and attractions news, but I also do like reviews, go to parks and review them, and I interview people in the industry. So I've interviewed sales directors, European director of sales, and from different companies. I got to interview Morgs a couple of years back as well, so I got to interview him at a Halloween event in York. So it's mainly reviews, news, and interviews, really.
There we go. Listen, my man, thank you very much for coming on and having your say top guy. Thank you. I'm trying to say not say top man now. Terry, why did you ask him that? Because I'm interested. Like, I'm chatting to the man, you know. Like, chatting to man's. I am interested. Do you know what it is? I always like people that have those kind of things that do and speak about those kind of things. Like, from my point of view, I always feel a little bit like, hang on a sec. Terry, why am I blocked on StreamYard? Grey Wolf Dinner. Maybe I blocked you when I removed you. Let me go and check now. Oh, I did. You are blocked. You're blocked. I'll unblock you, Grey Wolf Dinner. Sometimes what happens is we haven't blocked anyone in it. There's not very many names blocked it. There's the same guy that rung up that used to do it. Safe been blocked about 8 times. The only other person that's blocked on here is that TD Shifts. Everybody else is who they are. Yeah, I must have pressed block instead of kick when we remove you from the studio to obviously make space for others. Apologies, my friend. That's done. That is done. Terry, read eye test top 6 prediction. Where is it? Like, hang on. My top 6 prediction. United City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Leicester, Man United. Jeez. GG's. Listen, Arsenal 4th. Arsenal 4th? What? Nah, come on. You cannot believe that. You cannot believe that. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week. There is absolutely no chance you believe that Arsenal are coming 4th. 4th. Come on, man. No way, shape, or form. Grey Wolf Dinner's here now. What you saying, bro?
Oh, hang on. I'm not ready yet.
Oh, you're not ready? I'll put you backstage. I'll put you backstage, Sid. That man said, man got triggered. It's not even about being triggered. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Grey Wolf Dinner's back with us now. What you saying, mate?
Why is this so?
You can just talk. We can hear you.
All right. Yeah, Jules Kounde, man. I wasn't. I didn't get why we signed him at first, but I did some digging, and to be honest, he's an upgrade on Aspie. So I think he suits Tuchel's system really good. I think he actually fits our team more than Varane would have. Even though I think Varane's a better player right now, I think the way Kounde plays, he's so quick, and his dribbling is really good for a defender. Like, so he'll be able to like dribble a bit up the pitch, a bit like Kante does, like, but at the back instead. What I mean.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be very, very. I could see right away exactly why you bought him. I think that he covers what you wanted Hector Bellerin to do. Much better, not Hector Bellerin. Sorry, Hakimi to do. He's better defensively than Hakimi, in my opinion. He's young, and at 35 million plus, you get to offload someone that you didn't want to keep at the same time. If you offset that deal in that way, you're probably looking at about 50 million euros for him. If you the cost of Zuma, it's brilliant football. It's a brilliant piece of football business there by Chelsea Football Club. No doubt about it whatsoever. No doubt about that at all. It's brilliant. Grey Wolf Dinner, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Everyone else who has tuned in today to the Terrace, thank you very, very much indeed. Make sure you smash that like button. We're back later on tonight, 9 p.m. We're going live. We are looking to do a full review of Liverpool's transfer window. Of course, there may be big breaking news by then. Maybe we're going to get the confirmation. Maybe we're going to get the here we go. Maybe we're going to get the something happen. Remember, there's a few legal matters to have resolved before it happens, but Kounde, dead set to be a Chelsea player. Ben White, done and dusted. Some serious centre-back movements into the Prem this summer. We have a super chat here. It says, the Arsenal fan roller coaster has started already. It is what Vol, the producer, has got to say there. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Take care. Make sure, by the way, hang on, make sure you subscribed as well. And also, if you go into the link in the description below, there's a link. The first link in the description below is our notification group chat. Go and sign up to that so you don't miss any more notifications. I'd love to get up to 1,000, 2,000 of you in that notification group on Telegram. Please go and get signed up to that now so we can keep you informed 110% of the way. What we'll start doing in there as well, I've made a little decision, is I'll start before I tweet and before we share any of the news that comes from myself, Pete, Dean, we'll put it in that Telegram group chat first so you can get the breaking news before anybody else. So get yourselves in there, people. Make sure you subscribe to the Football Terrace as well. Closing in now on 204,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Until then, let us chat in Telegram. Do you guys want chat to exist in there, or that's going to get too much, because people don't do it? I'll set up a second group. I'm going to set up a different chat. If you join that group, I'll set up a second one for chat and then share it in there as well. Join up to that one for notifications, and we'll share the other one for a chat if you want to do a chat as well. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.